Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is, I finally reached the age where my children are adults and out of my home. Just when I thought I was going to get a break, I am witnessing many of my friends' parents' health and ability to take care of themselves decline. I did not plan financially for the possibility that I might have to take care of my parents as they age. What are some things I can do now to prepare for that real possibility? That is a question that a lot of people are coming to grips with. In this generation that we call the sandwich generation, you're trapped between taking care of older kids and your parents. And the first thing I would suggest is having an honest conversation with your parents about several things. The first thing is having them be honest and reveal the current state of their health. There are a lot of parents who are reluctant to disclose that they've had chronic diseases or in later stages of chronic diseases. And it's really unfair to children who ultimately end up having to take care of people who are in decline. So really having an honest conversation about their health status, where they are today, having an honest conversation about what their plan is, if they have a plan, for as they age, how they expect to be taken care of and how that's going to be paid for. So an honest conversation about all current sources of income, whether it's a pension, Social Security, VA benefits, rent, investment income, like any income they have, you should be fully aware of every dollar that comes in and where it's going currently and how much is currently allocated or can be allocated towards their care. Have an honest conversation about insurance, their health insurance, right? What is their current health insurance and is it adequate for a chronic disease? Does it cover medications? Does it have a huge deductible? I would say have an honest conversation about what their savings looks like. Do they have a lot of savings? Do they have an emergency fund? These are things that have to be discussed because you have to know where they stand currently and what they're capable of contributing to their own care. I think I would consider, do they own a home or do they rent? Because that makes a difference, right? If they own a home and if the home is paid for, it's a lot different than if they're renting somewhere and have to pay rent and a lot of the income doesn't go towards that. At that point, assessing all of that, I think you should have a discussion about if and how they expect you to contribute to their health care. I think you should then have a discussion with your siblings and extended family about sharing costs and do an assessment about what type of costs are possible, whether you're talking about do you have to supplement their transportation? Do you have to supplement their medication? Do you have to supplement deductibles? Do you have to pay for all of it? Do you have to cover in-home care? Do you have to pay for a facility for them to be in? What types of care possibly could you contribute to, and how much are you realistically able to contribute? And are there people you can share it with? Can you share it with your siblings or extended family? What other resources can you tap into, whether they're charitable organizations, or government organizations that have programs for elderly people who are in decline in terms of health or just aging? Doesn't mean they're sick. It's just aging and their ability to be independent is in decline. Once you establish where they're at, what their needs possibly could be, who can possibly assist you in that, then you'll have an idea of how much you have to contribute. And I would say either alone or with your siblings who are going to help you, then create a savings probably just a high interest savings account that you can start putting money away now. Even though they're not in decline necessarily now, or they're starting to get in decline, you see the signs. Start putting away money now in this savings account that you just designate a family care plan savings account, right? And just start putting that away over time. The number one thing I would caution you against is dipping into your own retirement funds. I know emotionally your parents took care of you, you want to take care of them, but you have to find another way, whether you have to get another job or you just have to find other people to contribute, or you have to find other programs, but don't sacrifice the money that you've been putting away for your retirement, because you won't get that back, right? You don't have enough time for yourself to then recoup that, and then you're going to put a burden on probably your children because you haven't prepared for your own self as you begin to age and stop working. So very difficult subject, but very necessary, because most of us are going to be in a situation like that. And on top of the emotional burden that comes along with being a caregiver, the financial burden is serious. One thing you should also consider, a couple of things you should consider, is getting power of attorney so that you can handle their financial needs later on, whether it's paying their bills or handling, different things. So you should definitely talk to them about giving you at least limited power of attorney. You should talk to them about creating a will and an estate plan, because the transition is inevitable at some point, and you want to do it while they're of sound body and mind to be able to write this out when their thoughts are lucid. You should consider a healthcare proxy so that you can make certain decisions for them if they're unable to make healthcare decisions for themselves. You should talk to them about what their wishes are. You just have to have these tough conversations, and it's difficult when you haven't really thought about having to take care of your parents, but at some point you will possibly have to contribute something. And if you can share that amongst, again, siblings or other family members, it is a bigger relief than taking on that whole responsibility for yourself. But yeah, you just have to start putting that money away, and you should, right? Because the reality is people are living longer, which means you'll probably have to take care of them at some point. So that's my recommendation for those of you who are in that situation, or who have been in that situation, or are planning for that situation. I'd love to hear your suggestions and your thoughts. But please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.